Improving your speed is one of the most important things an athlete needs in every single sport. Now, what if I told you you can improve your speed in just 60 seconds with this secret hack? In this video, I'm gonna give you simple techniques that will help you go from this to this in just 60 seconds. To understand how this works, you need to first understand that speed mainly comes from the tendon, not the muscles. This is because how long the foot stays on the ground when sprinting is simply too fast for you to recruit enough muscle fibers for it to be an effective strategy. Now, this doesn't apply to something like a squat that usually takes around 3 to 5 seconds. You're not gonna use as much tendon, but you're gonna use a lot more muscle in that type of exercise. Your sprinting is usually from 0.08 to 0.2 seconds on the ground, which is simply too fast to use strength. Obviously, muscle and tendon strength is a huge factor into overall sprint speed, but that's going to take time to develop and is not going to give you instant gains. We want to improve your speed instantly. A huge percentage of your speed comes from how you use positioning and levers. Positioning is just a foundational athletic stance. Once you're really strong in these stances, you will be able to use something called the stretch shortening cycle, which is one of the most important things for your sprinting, and you will allow your body to go through the natural gait cycle of sprinting. And levers is simply how you cycle or use your muscles to propel your body from that foundational athletic stance. Often when people try to sprint, they lack proper positioning, which influences braking forces in the opposite direction, or they don't use levers correctly to propel their body forward, so they end up continuously promoting deceleration, braking forces. So the question is, how do we fix these common issues? Well, first, like I said earlier, the body needs to be strong in these foundational stances and be able to hold these positions for long periods of time. That way it can be explosive out of it. This is gonna require some isometric strength, some stability, some hip strength, and some glute strength. Once we get this stance down, we need to learn how to use our levers so we can have effective strides. I'm gonna show you 2 ways to train the outcome that you want. So first, put your camera up against a wall so we can analyze your foundational position. Stand on one foot, then tuck your hips under your torso or just squeeze your glutes. Slightly push your chest forward above your hips, then drive your foot to knee height. Separate your arms so it's opposite arms, opposite leg. Then tuck your chin in slightly and make sure your head is neutral to the actual spine. Now hold this position for as long as possible and time it. If you can't get 1 to 1.5 minutes straight, then there's a lot of benefits you can gain from improving the strength of this position. So I suggest you hold this position for 3 to 5 minutes on each leg every single day. Just like NBA coach PJF said, if you cannot hold a position, you cannot be explosive out of it. This position is foundational for producing vertical force. You won't be able to jump high, run faster, or even accelerate out the blocks if you do not have this positional strength. And guess what? No amount of squatting or hip flexor raises are going to improve the strength at the specific movement you need to get strong at. That means the only thing you need to do to get stronger at this position is hold this position for long periods of time. I want you just to check out the Speed Academy. You can hop on the actual program, the full thing. It's all on an app. It's gonna transform your speed in the description, and so will the full program if you just wanna hop on it. Now you understand this position and you're probably figuring out how to hold this position to get strong in it. Let's talk about step 2. We're gonna use your leg in the air as a lever. It's common that people drive their leg up to get more distance. This is actually the opposite of what you want. If you're looking to produce force to propel your body forward, that means you need to drive your knee down and back. That means drive your knee up is fighting the natural gait cycle of biomechanics and sprinting. When you drive your knee up, it's common for you to use the next lever, which is knee extension, incorrectly too. People usually drive their knee up and then extend their knee forward to cover distance. This is going to make you land in front of your center of mass, which will generate negative braking forces. If you want to improve your stride length, you need to improve vertical force, which starts by landing under your center of mass, which will allow you to produce force down and back. From this foundational position with the knee up, you are simply going to drive it down and back. Once the foot hits the ground, naturally allow your leg to switch fast. This will still feel like you're driving your knee up, but I want you to think drive your knee forward. And then eventually, the faster and better you get at switching, the more you will move the knee forward, and the more you'll start to realize that all you're doing is driving your knee forward, then down and back. You never are purposely going up to hit some weird KPI of like 90 degrees knee height that your coach probably told you. Another simple way to look at this is hammering the nail under the ground. A lot of top coaches, like one of the best coaches in the UK, teaches his athletes to use their foot like a hammer and treat the ground like it's a nail, and you're constantly striking it down to bring the nail closer into the ground. Note when you're doing this, the hammer hits the same spot on the nail every single time. That's the center. The center for you is going to be under your hips, directly under your body, or what we actually call the center of your mass. So the two drills to teach you how to use your levers correctly and hammer the nail or get all these cues kind of out your head and learn how to actually apply it on the track is going to be squatted runs and A switches. For the squatted run, all I want you to do is get into a quarter squat or half squat position and then sprint forward without losing that quarter squat position. So you're gonna hold this position and then try to sprint and move forward. Even if you're moving 70 to 80%, you want to get some speed into it. Obviously, you probably won't be able to go to 100%. You probably shouldn't time it to see if you run faster. Just do this as a good drill, maybe 3 to 4 sets of 20 meters before your sprint work. And then for the A switch, we're gonna start off with the foundational stance that we talked about earlier, and then we're going to just switch as fast as possible. So the second the foot hits the ground, the legs should already be coming forward, and then you should be able to stabilize in that position, hold it, and then strike down again and switch again. If you want it all programmed for you, you can hop on my 12-month membership, the Speed Academy, where you transform your speed every single month with me, a whole entire program, everything you need to become a faster athlete.